All right, team, here we are. We're gonna go over the L-sit lifts over a target. Now, you have a few different ways you can do this to increase or decrease the intensity. But before we do that, I wanna just chat about why this is a valuable exercise. The L-sit itself is a fantastic tool for developing hip flexor as well as core strength, normally done in a static position, but you can also take and use the movement dynamically, and that way we can actually extend our range of motion, our useful active range of motion that we have within the movement, and develop strength at N ranges. So it might be very difficult to hold some of these positions for any one period of time or even a few seconds, but the act of moving through is strengthening through movement as well as through a greater potential range of motion of the movement. Now, of course, the hard part with this one is going to be the scaling of the modifications that are needed to set it up. So I'm going to go over two variations, although there are many other variations of how you could do this, but I'm going to start off with a seated and then a parallette version of this, okay? So let's try this out. So the seated version, I'm going to use a dumbbell as my target, okay? I'm going to place the dumbbell in between, the dumbbell in the middle of my heels. I'm going to start on one side. I'm going to do a seated version of the L-sit where we're going to sit nice and tall, curl our tail just a little bit, have our hands down by our knees, and use that as kind of a radiation point and a place to create tension. We're going to point the toes, make it look beautiful, and from here, we're going to simply lift our feet. So this would be the seated L-sit. And of course, now we're going to be going over a target, making the movement quite a bit more challenging. Now, one thing that could make this movement even more challenging would be to increase the height of the dumbbell. So in this case, I have my dumbbell set. Now, I haven't tried this, so let's see if we can do this. So now we're gonna go here, brace, all the way up and over. And then you have all kinds of variations of ways you could do this by making it even taller, okay? So then we got one more, so this will be a little more challenging, all the way up and over. And again, this would be done for time or repetitions. This would be the seated version of the movement over a target. Now we're gonna do the exact same thing, but we're gonna do it with the parallettes now. So really quickly, just a reminder, setting up the parallettes, elbow, fingertip is a good starting spot. You can adjust from there, of course, okay? I'll start in my tuck, go out to my L-sit, and now lifting over the target. And then again, we want to challenge this, make it a little bit taller. Make it even taller yet. And this, the height of this is all varied based on your strength and your abilities. And then I guess just for fun, I haven't tried this yet. And of course, you don't have to use dumbbells. You can use med balls, you can use whatever you want. So this one's gonna be a bit more challenging. Okay, so there's a couple versions. Seated parallette. Again, this can be done hanging from rings, all different variations, or even maybe if you don't have a target that you wanna use, you could even just use end range, kind of like drawing circles and just focusing on moving while in that position. So it would look something like this. Drawing little circles. So you could draw a few circles in one direction, a few in the other direction, again, based on reps or time, whatever works for you. Variations of the L-sit over target.